Hi. You've ever wanted to run a pirate campaign? You probably run into the same problem I did. Most pirate settings look incredible on paper, but once the campaign starts, the world often feels empty. The factions become background noise or decoration, and keeping the momentum alive becomes a challenge. So today I want to show you a campaign I built specifically to solve those problems. This is Tides of the Drowned Sovereign. And rather than giving you a sales pitch, I want to walk you through exactly how it works, what you'll find inside, and how I designed it to help DMs run a living world without spending hours of preparing every week. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Cody from Sequan Studios, and this is the boss, Mr. Mago. He always loves being held like this and being on camera. He's more shy than I am. And there he goes. Bye. So I create campaigns and DM tools focused on helping game masters spend less time preparing and more time actually running memorable sessions. So let's jump into the campaign itself. The core idea behind Tides of the Drowned Sovereign is simple. The ocean is changing. It's actually flooding. Ancient relics that are tied to a forgotten sea god have begun resurfacing. Kingdoms, pirate fleets, cults, merchants, and rival captains are all racing to claim them. And while the players are trying to decide who they can trust, the world around them is slowly sliding into catastrophe. This isn't a campaign where the world waits for the heroes. This is the world that keeps moving, whether they succeed or fail, and in between each session. So as you can see, we've got a lot of pages packed in here, 45 in total, 47 if you include the cover page and the table of contents. So one thing I wanted to include right away was a clear guidance for the DM. Before you ever start session 1, there are sections dedicated to how the campaign runs, how the world evolves, and how the major systems interact with one another. Got all the different factions here, also the flood system, and so the flood system is what is going on in between each session. So if you claim a relic, whether you use a relic, if you happen to destroy one, everything's still advancing and still moving forward. There's a page for you to track it and what happens at each different level. So, you start off the campaign at level 0. The sea is uneasy but stable. There's little minor signs are starting to appear. But then you get to the level 8, and the Drowned Sovereign, Dalzarath, fully manifests. A couple D8 tables for you to randomize flood consequences or world-shifting events. Moving on. And then we've got 4 different factions that are fighting for these relics. One of my favorite parts of the campaigns is the faction system. Every major faction has goals, resources, and some are allies like the Tidebreak Corsairs and have their own plans for the relics. What that means is that in between sessions, the world can continue to move forward naturally and evolve. Instead of wondering what's going to happen next, you simply look at what the factions would logically do. That makes prep dramatically easier and making the world feel alive. And then for those factions, each character has a different page, or NPC has a different page dedicated to them with some art. And then just for the regular crew and the optional crews as well, the Blackwake Reavers and the Gilded Abyss, those 2 are meant for, they're optional. If you want to add a lot of combat and some hard aggression to the campaign, that's what these guys are for, the Blackwake Reavers. If you want to add some more mystery and magic use and backroom deals, that sort of thing, that's where the Gilded Abyss is going to come in, because they're very mysterious. They don't necessarily want to be felt, but they are around. And then the sea god, Dalzarath. So once you've uncovered the 5th and final relic, this guy awakens. no matter what. There's no stopping it. This is something that has been waiting to happen for years to come. And once that fifth relic is unlocked, there's no stopping it. So the relics, which the campaign revolves around, there's 5 ancient relics. Each one has immense power. Each one attracts attention, and each one has a cost of using it and holding on to it. Each one will push the campaign forward, one of several possible endings. The players aren't simply chasing another treasure chest. They're participating in a race against multiple factions that all want control for the future. So each session is tied to a relic. So the first relic, the drowned anchor, is tied to session 1. The second anchor, or sorry, not the second anchor. The second relic, the eye below the storm, is tied to session 2, and so on and so forth. When you get to the session pages, you're going to see that each one comes with a map as well. This is the overall map for the entire campaign. This shows you the world and where everything is in relation to each other. Obviously, I want to fit it all onto the same page, so this isn't quite to scale of what it would be if we were traveling the seas ourselves, but this gives you an idea of where you start out here at Saltreach, and you move on through until you finish off in the Stormlock Trench. I wanted to make the campaign easy to run at the table. So throughout the campaign, you're going to find all the maps on each session page. So session 1 has its own map. Session 2, so forth. They're going to all have their own maps. And in the NPC pages, there's guides on how to actually roleplay them, how to have them show up. There's a betrayal sequence it's built into the campaign, and it's going to give you tips and tricks on how to actually run that, and story hooks that are designed to help reduce your prep time. The goal wasn't to create a setting that looks impressive on a shelf. The goal was to create something that a busy DM could actually use and continue to use week after week. The thing I'm most proudest of this campaign doesn't really rely on a single plot. It relies on pressure. The factions move, the flood rises. Let's go to where I want to show you. So in each session, things grow. And then this page right here is a quick reference guide. So, as the flood rises, the relics change hands, the players decide how they respond. That means that every group is likely to have a different story by the time it ends. Things that won't change though, locked events. Session 3, there is a betrayal. Session 4, there is a sacrifice. And in Session 5, the awakening happens. These things always happen, and so how they get there might look a little different for each group, but at the end of the day, these are locked in events that will continue to happen. There's also a tracking page, so you can keep track of who's where they are, each faction, where they are in the race, what relics they have, what their condition is, and then the relics, how they're used, possessed by, notes, any notes that you happen to have, and then a easy flood meter tracker, and then also too just a quick who's holding the relic at the end of session 1, what's the state change in the world. Again, session 2, same thing, who's holding the relic, how's the state change, and then session 3 after the betrayal, what's the mood like, how are the NPCs reacting. I know the crew from the Tidebreak Corsairs is going to be really affected by this. So how do they move forward? And now for the epilogue, there's also 4 different ways that I've built into this one right now of how you can end this. And do the players succeed? Great, you got an option for that. Maybe there's a fractured victory and they don't quite succeed. Maybe they fail completely. Who knows? There's different options built in so that you as the DM don't have to be pigeonholed into one specific ending. And then this Relics at the Glance, this is more just a player forward page at the very end. I originally built it and realized I didn't have enough for each relic, and so they became two pages each for the relics. And so I kept this page just as something that you can hand out to your players. They can actually look at them, have a little bit of description on them. So if you enjoy living worlds, meaningful choices, faction politics, pirate adventures, nautical horror, and campaigns where the world reacts to player decisions, this was built for you. And if you're a DM who's tired of spending endless hours preparing every week, I think you'll find a lot of value in the systems that I built into this campaign. So thank you for taking the tour with me. And if you do want to pick it up, you'll find the link below. And if you liked what you saw, feel free to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.